Hi, I'm Hannah, this is Piles of Books, and today I'm going to be sharing my collection of homeschooling and parenting books that I love. Okay, so the lighting is not great in here, which is why I rarely ever film in here. I think I've only ever filmed one video in here. Anyway, this is my reading chair. This is where I usually sit when I'm reading, unless I'm sitting outside. And these shelves behind me are our nonfiction, theology, doctrine, homeschooling, parenting, Bible study resources, all of that stuff goes on this shelf, these two shelves here behind me. So last week I shared a video about some of my favorite like homeschooling and mom books. And so while I was picking those out off my shelf, I'm like, oh, there's so many great ones. I just want to share all of these. Oh, my kids are right outside the window. And it's these two shelves. Oh, and there's one up above that you can't see right now, but I'm going to share all of those and try to get through them quickly. But these are some of my very favorite books that I own, that I have read. So hopefully it doesn't take too long. We'll see. All right, I'm gonna try to keep you steady. You're sitting on my red chair, so we'll see how this goes. But starting over here, this Green Ages and Stages book, I have actually not read this. I got this from the thrift store, nope, from a library sale. And it says birth through 8 years, so I need to read that because I have an 8-year-old. But the ABCs and All Their Tricks, I love this book. I have used pieces of this for teaching my kids how to read. We use mostly the McGuffey readers. This is not like a cheap book. I mean, I think it was like $15, but it is absolutely worth the money if you have children that you're trying to teach to read. It's very good. I need to read through it again because it just goes over a lot of stuff like phonics and things that I did not know at all. And so when I was teaching my oldest to read, I was glad that he picked it up pretty much on his own. But then when I was teaching my second, she was a little bit more difficult. She just didn't catch on quite as easily. And so I was kind of learning how to teach them as they were learning how to read. It was just, I don't know. I think I have a better grasp on it now, hopefully, when it's time for my third. But yes, this is a good one. Okay, Learning and Leading with Habits of Mind. Actually, I haven't read this one either. But I recognized the author's name, I believe, when I bought it, and of course I can't remember that now, but Arthur Costa. Book Lover's Guide to Great Reading. Again, this is one that I have not read, but it's with the school books because it just kind of goes with our philosophy of homeschooling. So this is by Terry Glaspie. The Child That Books Built. I did start this one and I didn't finish this, but I think it's a bit more of a memoir if I remember correctly. And then these are my Charlotte Mason books. So I've read Home Education multiple times. I've read Parents and Children. I've read part of School Education, but I haven't finished it and I have not read these. I've like gone through and just read little bits here and there as I've seen things online, but I haven't actually read the books. I need to do that. Dumbing Us Down by John Taylor Gatto. This is a bit of a homeschooling classic. I read that last year and I liked it. It was good. A Year of Forest School. So we are very outside sorts of people. I mean, my kids more so than me, but anyway, so this is really fun. It's got some neat ideas in it. Okay, so then I've got the Solfege Teaching Guide by Eileen Sauer. So I mentioned in one of my recent videos, or I talked about our homeschooling plans for the summer, and we follow the Charlotte Mason philosophy, and solfege is something that is taught. So I like this book. This was good. I bought this for myself to kind of help me teach the kids. But if you are really new to solfege, I don't think that this would be a good resource for you, but if you do have some background in it, this is a good one. Okay, Our Language. I got this at an auction, actually. I didn't even pay $1 for it. Cultural Literacy. Again, this is something I have not read. What's in a Word? This is really fun. This Fascinating Stories of More Than 350 Everyday Words and Phrases. So I have like looked at different things. I haven't read it through, but I think this would be something fun to do with kids as like part of, morning time or something. Mine are a little young for that right now, but that is my plans for that. Charlotte Mason, or more Charlotte Mason education. This is on my list of books to read this year. How to Grow a Young Music Lover. This is as well. For the Love of Words, Vocabulary Instruction That Works. So I looked through this and it looked very good and interesting, but I have not used any of the ideas in there yet. A Thomas Jefferson Education by Oliver DeMille. I love this book. Read it multiple times. It's very, very good. The Read Aloud Family by Sarah Mackenzie. This is kind of a homeschooling classic as well. The Core by Lee A. Bortons. I got this like within the last few months, I think, and I haven't read it yet, but I'd like to. Thomas Jefferson Education for Teens. Okay, this needs to go here. So this just does talk about reading and like marking your books and I don't know, different things like that, but it also has a fabulous book list. Give Your Child the World by Jamie Martin. This is a really fun one for teaching geography. The Heart of Homeschooling. I read this several years ago. I haven't read it recently. My husband liked it too. Late Bloomers. This is one that I have not read, but I need to. As well as this, Smart Moves, Why Learning is Not All in Your Head. My youngest is, he's only 2, but he is a very sensory sort of kid, and I feel like when he is school-aged, he is not going to be probably like my others. So I'm trying to do some preparing, I guess, for myself for his school days, which will not be for several years yet. But Your Child's Growing Mind, Leadership Education, The Phases of Learning. This also needs to go with the Thomas Jefferson Education books. This is like what a Thomas Jefferson education is. This is the practical guide of how to actually do it. And then The Hurried Child. I haven't read this one, by David Elkind. What Should We Then Know by Jan Bloom. And The Beauty of Motherhood. This is a collection of poetry. Okay, I'm gonna have to move my chair. All right, this one, As I Sit and Stand by Dara, I don't know how to say her last name. This is a really good one. This, a resource and guide for teaching your children the Bible. I really like this book a lot. I read it and raved about it, and a friend of mine borrowed it, and then she had it for a while, and I completely forgot about it. So I'm excited to read that one again. Disconnected by Thomas Kirsting. I recently read this one. Grace Like Scarlet by Adriel Booker. I recently read that one. The Big Book of Homeschooling by Debbie Pearl. We don't really follow much about the Pearls, but this is a really neat book. Just tons of ideas. Then these books, let's see here. This one, Educating the Child at Home, Personal Training in the Work Habit by Ella Francis Lynch, and I believe this one is also, by Ella Francis Lynch. So I had seen somebody talk about these books several years ago, and I bought them. This is not a good edition. There are pages missing, but what is in here, I really like, and I need to just get a better edition of these books. And then this one, Home Geography for Primary Grades by C.C. Long. This is a Charlotte Mason classic, essentially. You Are Your Child's First Teacher. This is a Waldorf education book. I loved this book. This was really good. I mean, there are some things in it that I did not agree with, but I really like this one, and I have used a lot of ideas from it for all my kids. The Enchanted Hour by Megan Cox Gurdon. The Miraculous Power of Reading Aloud in the Age of Distraction. I love that book. As well as this one, When Children Love to Learn by Elaine Cooper. So like it says, a practical application of Charlotte Mason's philosophy for today. That is a really good one. I need to reread that one. A Mother's Heart. I just talked about this one. Give Them Grace. This is one that I want to read this summer along with this one, Mama Bear Apologetics. Simplicity Parenting. This is a really good one. I liked it when I read it, I think that was about 4 years ago. 5 years ago. And I liked it, but I don't know that I would necessarily read it again, but it is a good one. And then Introverted Mom by Jamie Martin. I should put that up here with her other one. Okay, No More Lone Ranger Moms by Donna Parteau. I have not read this. I just got it at the thrift store a while back. A Biblical Home Education by Ruth Beechick. I read this one at the beginning of the year. It is fantastic. Parents Passing on the Faith, Establishing a Foundation that Endures. This is one that I haven't read. It came from my husband's grandparents, I believe. And then The Strong-Willed Child and Dare to Discipline by James Dobson. Again, there are things in these books that I don't love, but overall, they are pretty good. Created for Work by Bob Schultz. And then there's this one also, Boyhood and Beyond. Raising a Modern Day Knight, A Father's Role to Guiding His Son to Authentic Manhood. Somebody gave us a bunch of parenting books, so these three were in that. We haven't read them, but I'd like to. How to Really Love Your Child by Ross Campbell. This is a good one, and actually, I've told people before that I like to read these in conjunction with each other. So like read one and then read the other one. They are kind of on the complete opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to parenting and disciplining, but I think they complement each other well. Okay, I'll scoot you over here. We've got Grace-Based Parenting by Dr. Tim Kimmel. I haven't read this one. What is a Family by Edith Schaefer. I haven't read this one yet. I'd like to soon because I love this book of hers, The Hidden Art of Homemaking. And then also I've got Common Sense Christian Living, which I've started multiple times and I just cannot get into it. So I definitely need to try harder on that one. Homemaking by J.R. Miller. This is like a reprint that was done by Vision Forum years ago. These are more like marriage books. We'll go over that kind of stuff on a different day probably. But let's do some more mom books. Okay. This is probably my favorite shelf. So these are all of my books by Sally Clarkson, and I'm sorry. We've got several roosters, and it's like they know when I'm filming because they're not noisy for most of the day, and then I start filming, and of course they come right up to the window. So, I'm sorry about that. Okay, Tea Time Discipleship by Sally Clarkson. This is extra special to me because my very, very dear friend bought this for me last year. So I love it because it's by Sally. I love it because it's about tea time, but I also love it because it is from my friend. And then The Life-Giving Parent, The Life-Giving Table, and The Life-Giving Home. I just talked about these in a video. I love these books. The Ministry of Motherhood and the Mission of Motherhood as well. Caught Up in a Story is actually by Sarah Clarkson. I have not read this one in several years. I think when my oldest was 3, I read it, and it was good. It was very good. I need to reread it. It's quite small, and it's broken up into good chunks. So anyway, I need to reread that one. Mom Heart Moments. This is Sally's daily devotions, like a yearly daily devotional. I did that last year and loved it. Read for the Heart. This is also by Sarah. Just more a book about books. Help, I'm Drowning by Sally. This was a really good one that I read last year. It's one of her more recent books. Seasons of a Mother's Heart. I have read this once, and I always intend to read it because it does go through the seasons of the year, but I've not actually ever done that. The Mom Walk by Sally. I know I read this one, but I could not tell you what it was about. I don't actually remember it. I think I was pregnant with my 3rd, and that was a rough season. So I just don't remember a lot from that time. Okay, The Awakening Wonder Experience. This goes with the Awakening Wonder book right over here. Right here. So this is just kind of like a guided companion as you're reading through Awakening Wonder. Then we've got, okay, let me fix these. Giving Her Words by Sally and Clay. This is a super, super one. I think this would be great to do as like a book club. And Own Your Life by Sally. I really like this one as well. Living with Deep Intention, Bold Faith, and Generous Love. There was a lot in that book that really had me thinking. And then Know and Tell by Karen Glass. I just read this and talked about it. Great, great book. Growing Up Social by Gary Chapman and Arlene Pelican. I just read this one as well. And then, I'll move this out of the way. This, Our 24 Family Ways by Clay Clarkson. This is a devotional, a family devotional. It is great as well. If you haven't done that one, it's very good. Very good. Okay. Then the last ones are actually I haven't put back on the shelf from the other day. But we've got A Pocket Full of Pine Cones by Karen Andriola, For the Children's Sake by Susan Schaefer Macaulay. I've got The Call of the Wild and Free by Ansley Arment. It doesn't have the beautiful dust jacket. And 10 Ways to Destroy the Imagination of Your Child by Anthony Eslin. So I'm out of shelf space. Those are going to have to sit there for now. Okay, so that is my homeschooling, parenting, mom book collection. There's a lot that I haven't read, but a lot of them I have read and I really love. Those are books that I'm just kind of, constantly working through, either rereading old favorites or reading new ones that could become favorites. So definitely let me know, especially on the books that I haven't read, if you've read them and you liked them or didn't like them, I would love to know. But also on the books that I have read, I'd love to know your thoughts as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me talk about these books. Thanks for enduring the roosters outside and my kids slamming doors and all of that. I will be filming in my regular spot with better lighting the next time, so stay tuned for that and we will see you in the next video.